Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order, please. Thank you. Please stand and join me for the flag salute.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Public notice, please.
Adequate public notice has been given pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice has been posted at the board's office and website, emailed to the Department of State, and to newspapers of broad circulation within the state.
Roll call.
Commissioner Holden?
Here.
Commissioner Solomon?
Here.
Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Here.
President Fiordaliso?
Here. And our next meeting?
Our next meeting is scheduled for, our next board meeting will be live streamed via YouTube on Wednesday, October 6, 2021 at 10 a.m.
Good, thank you. Let me welcome everyone here and those who are watching us via live stream. Welcome. The board will be going into executive session and we'll be addressing the following item. Docket number Q021081073, the matter of the implementation of BL 2021-C200 regarding establishment of the school and small business energy stimulus program. And the board will be taking action on this item during the regular session. I anticipate that the executive session would last anywhere between 10 and 15 minutes. And before I ask the Attorney General to read that, anyone who is waiting around for energy item 8D on the Dakota Power Partners LLC matter, that item has been deferred to a future meeting. Mr. Attorney General.
Good morning, Mr. President, Commissioners. Item 8F falls within the contract negotiation exception to the Open Public Meetings Act. For your reference, that exception is found in New Jersey Statute 10:4-12B7. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Do we have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, and we are in executive session. Anyone who is not employed by the Board of Public Utilities, please leave. I just have a few remarks to make before we jump into the regular agenda. Last week I was able to participate in what I believe to be a significant milestone for the offshore wind industry here in the state of New Jersey. That was really a long time in the making. 11 years ago, the Offshore Wind Economic Development Act, OWEDA, was signed into law. Finally, we are now in a position, through the work of the governor, to make progress toward realizing offshore wind and building an industry that will bring a new clean source of energy, thousands of good-paying jobs, and billions in economic growth for the state of New Jersey. Alongside Governor Murphy, U.S. Department of Labor Secretary Marty Walsh, my cabinet colleagues, and Senate President Sweeney, and many other state and local officials, broke ground on the New Jersey wind port in Lower Alloways Township in Salem County, right next to the nuclear reactor. Through the wind port, our offshore wind awards and our unique approach to soliciting transmission options, New Jersey stands out as a leader in the industry. And with the construction of the wind port, we are staking out our claim as the supply chain leader for offshore wind on the East Coast, New Jersey. We're going to be the place, and we are the place, where everybody has to come through, which makes us in a unique position to build an outstanding and thriving industry right here in our state. It's exciting, and in essence, we're just starting, really. It's going to be a long road. Most of us will not be here at the completion, but we all can be proud of the fact that we are here in helping to initiate something that will help to save our planet. It's not very often in one's professional career that they can say that they've been involved in a revolution, and that's what we're involved in. And I can look straight in the eyes of my grandchildren and honestly tell them that we're trying to mitigate the effects of climate change for their future and for their children's future. Very exciting time, and it's the Board of Public Utilities that's leading the way and helping to initiate the governor's vision. I want to congratulate also our good friend, Willie Phillips, who has been nominated to the FERC. Willie is the chair of the Washington, D.C. Commission and is a friend of New Jersey. All of us have worked with Willie in MACRUC and NARUC, and we know what a knowledgeable gentleman, and that's what he is, man Willie is. It's going to be exciting to work with the FERC as we go down this road, because I really believe that the interests of the FERC will be more in line with the interests of the state of New Jersey. And that in itself is also very exciting. Next week is Clean Energy Week, and we have some things planned, and one of the main things, and I know my colleagues feel the same way, is to get the word out to people. We're starting to see that clean energy is catching on. We're starting to see that climate change awareness is catching on. More and more people are talking about it and are concerned about climate change. In my opinion, the major challenge facing us today. So we have to continue to work diligently to ensure the fact that we're doing everything possible to mitigate the effects of climate change. I also again want to mention anyone who is in arrearage with their utilities. Reach out to your utility company, set up a payment plan. If you need help, there's help available. But the December 31st deadline is coming very quickly. Don't wait till the last minute. And finally, if you haven't already, please consider getting the vaccine against COVID-19. We're all in this together. And if I don't get the vaccine, I'm hurting you. And if you don't get the vaccine, you're hurting me. So really, if you haven't gotten it yet, give it serious consideration. Do any of my colleagues have any opening remarks?
Thank you, Mr. President. If I go and tell my wife that the next week is clean energy, she's going to say, put some energy to clean the house. So I'm going to be in trouble. But I just want to, we are going to be celebrating the Hispanic Heritage Month, which is starting in September 15th, and we have many Hispanic American employees in the board and the state, and I just want to recognize their contributions to the world in general, and also Jewish Americans will be celebrating Yom Kippur. I just want to wish my colleagues and everybody a happy holiday season.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes?
For those of you who may know, I'm a board advisor to the University of Missouri's Financial Research Institute, and it should be in the clips today, but there's an article by Joe Fiordaliso in the Point of View column this month. It's a feature, and it's all about the state agreement approach, and if you don't know it, this is the best article to really understand it. So, thank you for doing it. It makes me very proud of Jersey's on the front cover.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you for your assistance in that. I'm just concerned are all the words spelled correctly?
If they took my copy, they're all spelled correctly. I don't know if they did any additional editing.
I hear you. Well, thank you. Anyone else? Madam Secretary, the consent agenda, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. On the following consent agenda items, 2A, 3A, 3B, 4A, and 9A.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes. No items under audits for consideration, and I just talked about assistance. And our guru assistant person is going to make the first presentation, Maureen, regarding the USF program.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you. 2A concerns the electric and gas utilities annual compliance filing to determine the Universal Service Fund and Lifeline program budgets and rates for the upcoming year. The USF provided energy assistance benefits to approximately 147,000 low-income households in the current program year. And the Lifeline program provides benefits to over 220,000 households in the last state fiscal year. The utilities submitted their annual compliance filing to the board on June 25th, 2021. In this June filing, the utilities requested rate adjustments to recover a USF budget of approximately $215.5 million, which includes the following: $7.8 million in estimated USF administrative costs, $5 million for the NJ Share SMART program, a $3.2 million gas over-recovery balance, a $6.2 million electric over-recovery balance, and $103 million in estimated additional USF and Fresh Start costs to support temporary program expansions to address arrearages brought on by the challenges associated with the pandemic. The June filing was based on 7 months of actual information from October 2020 through April 2021 and 5 months of estimated information. The June filing proposed a rate increase for both gas and electric. The June filing also included costs to recover a Lifeline program budget of $74.6 million. While the Lifeline budget decreased by $50,000, the Lifeline electric rate increased slightly, and the Lifeline gas rate remained the same. In the June filing, the utilities also requested the recovery of their USF-related administrative costs, and that the USF and Lifeline interim rates approved through September 2020 be finalized. In July 2021, the utilities submitted responses to board staff discovery and provided 9 months of actual cost data through June 2021 and 3 months of estimated data. This updated data reflected a higher estimated USF budget of approximately $222.3 million and an updated gas and electric rate that were higher than those proposed in the June filing. Additionally, in August, 2 public hearings were held telephonically in each of the 7 gas and electric utility service territories. No comments were received from the public. During the review period, Rate Counsel submitted written comments offering their opinion on the utilities filing. In those comments, Rate Counsel stated that it does not object to the utilities' request for recovery of their actual administrative costs, takes no position regarding the reasonableness of the DC's estimated USF administrative budget, and recommends that the board evaluate whether the USF rates should reflect the offset of higher levels of federal supplemental LIHEAP funding and some of the COVID relief funding. After reviewing the filing and all related submissions, staff recommends the rates proposed in the June filing. These rates support a USF budget of $215.5 million for the new program year, which begins October 1st, 2021. This is an increase of approximately $92 million from the current USF program budget. If approved, this budget and the rates would be effective October 1st, 2021. Further, staff recommends that the board approve the Lifeline rates contained in the June filing, which support a Lifeline program budget of approximately $74.6 million. If approved, these rates would also be effective October 1st, 2021. The combined USF Lifeline rates would represent an increase of $8.88 per year for an average residential gas customer and an increase of $7.82 per year for an average residential electric customer. The combined USF Lifeline annual bill would be $48.19 per year for an average residential customer who uses both gas and electric, which is a net increase of $16.70. Additionally, staff recommends the board direct staff to reimburse the utilities for the USF-related administrative costs, which total $4,819. Finally, staff recommends that the board finalize the interim USF rates that were approved previously through September 30th, 2020, because these rates have been reviewed and trued up. Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
Questions for Maureen?
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Maureen, in terms of the budget, how much of the money that is being used for outreach? One of the challenges in USF is that not able to reach all the people that really need it. And I know a couple of years ago, last year, I heard that the request for the USF funds has come down. And if that, especially under the COVID situation, the need must have gone up. And so just maybe you'd like to comment on that.
Right, so enrollment has been declining. This year was pretty much the same as last year. But last year there was a 9% decrease in enrollment in USF. I think because of the moratorium, probably. But there is, DCA, as you know, is our program administrator and does outreach for us. And we approved their administrative budget last month of about $8 million. And I can't remember exactly how much was set aside for outreach and advertising. Board staff's working with DCA to try to get the word out for the fall. And we're planning a new utility assistance week in October to help get the word out with all program partners and work with the utilities as well to reach out to customers with arrearages.
So we have Office of Equity, Energy Equity. I think they should be able to work with DCA at night to see if we can reach out to more people.
The Office of, I'm sorry, I didn't catch the first thing you said.
We have Office of Energy Equity, and if I'm saying the right name. Crystal Pruitt.
Oh, yes, Energy
We
Equity.
need to make sure that it should not be, if the people who are there, they really need it, we must ensure that at least they should be reached.
Yeah, we're doing everything we can. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from Maureen? This is certainly one of our big programs, to assist people. And we make an effort, as we all know, to inform people of what's available. I know DCA does the same thing, and so on, and it's unfortunate that some people miss it. But that outreach is extremely important. And again, I encourage people, if they are in need of assistance, to please reach out. That's part of the societal benefit charge on our bills that goes to support this program, to help our fellow citizens. So that's why it's there. Utilize it if you need it. Any other questions or comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes, thank you, Maureen. Item 2B, Joe DeLosa. And it's my understanding that Joe celebrated a birthday yesterday. So happy birthday, Joe. And it's also my understanding he's now able to drink legally.
Thank you, Mr. President. Commissioners, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Very good. On July 30th, 2021, PJM filed proposed revisions, which I'll call the proposal, to its minimum offer price rule, or MOPR, at the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, which we know as FERC. The proposal represents a new approach to capacity market mitigation that, if accepted, will eliminate the risk of New Jersey's clean energy programs failing to clear the capacity market because of the MOPR. The proposal is an outgrowth of the PJM's board direction to stakeholders to revise the current expanded MOPR rule. Because the focused scope of the MOPR outlined in the proposal would limit the risk to New Jersey public policy goals, staff, on behalf of the board, filed comments in support of the proposal on August 20th, 2021. Staff recommends that the board ratify these comments filed August 20, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments for Joe? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes, thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Items 2C through 2G will be presented by Stacy.
Yes, good.
And the first two are E-Town Gas, right, Stacy?
Correct. Can you hear me?
Yes.
On April 30th, Elizabethtown Gas filed a petition seeking approval for a rate adjustment to recover annualized increases in the revenue requirements associated with its IIP. As updated, Elizabethtown sought authorization to recover approximately $7.06 million associated with projects placed in service from July 2020 through June of 2021. The parties have executed a stipulation that would allow Elizabethtown to recover the updated revenue requirement. As a result of the stipulation, the monthly bill impact on a typical residential customer is an increase of $2.17. Staff recommends the board issue an order approving the stipulation and directing Elizabethtown to file revised tariffs by October 1st.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes. 2D,
On July 23rd, Elizabethtown filed a petition seeking approval to revise its rates related to its weather normalization clause, the New Jersey Clean Energy Program component of its SBC, and the on-system margin sharing credit rate. The parties have determined that while additional time is needed to complete a review of the petition, it is reasonable and in the public interest for Elizabethtown to implement provisional rates. The parties have executed a stipulation which would allow Elizabethtown to modify its WNC, CEP, and OSMC rates on a provisional basis, subject to refund. As a result of the stipulation, a typical residential customer would see an increase in their monthly bill of $1.66. Staff recommends the board issue an order adopting the stipulation and directing Elizabethtown to file revised tariffs by October 1st.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments for Stacy? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes. And E for PSE&G?
Correct. On June 30th, Public Service filed a petition seeking approval to adjust its weather normalization clause rate. After an initial review, the parties have determined that while additional time is needed to complete a review of the petition, it is reasonable and in the public interest to allow PS to implement the proposed WNC credit rate on a provisional basis subject to refund. As a result, a typical residential customer would see a decrease in their annual bill of 78 cents. Staff recommends the board issue an order approving the stipulation and directing PS to file revised tariffs by October 1st.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes. And F, Rockland Electric?
Yes. On April 1st, Rockland Electric filed its annual societal benefits charge true-up petition to reconcile the costs and recoveries related to the demand-side management and clean energy program component. Through the course of the proceeding, Rockland updated the petition to include actual information through July. The parties have now executed a stipulation which will result in an increase of 8 cents in the monthly bill of a typical residential customer. Staff recommends the board approve the stipulation and direct Rockland to file revised tariffs by October 1st.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes. And G, South Jersey Gas, Stacy?
Yes, on April 30th, South Jersey Gas filed a petition seeking authority to establish rates to recover the annualized increases in revenue requirements associated with the company's SHARP 2 program. As updated, South Jersey sought to recover approximately $2.22 million related to expenditures placed in service from July 2020 through June of 21. The parties have executed a stipulation that will allow the company to recover the updated revenue requirement. As a result, a typical residential customer would see an increase in their monthly bill of 63 cents. Staff recommends the board issue an order adopting the stipulation and directing South Jersey to file revised tariffs by October 1st.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes. Thank you, Stacy.
Thank you.
There are no items under cable television, telecommunications, or water for consideration, nor reliability and security, or customer assistance. That brings us to clean energy. And item 8A. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Commissioners. This item relates to a subsection T application received from EPP Renewable Energy to have its project certified as being located on a properly closed sanitary landfill pursuant to subsection T of the Solar Act. The applicant's 3.5 megawatt DC project is proposed to be located on 10 acres of a portion of the Pennsauken landfill in Pennsauken, New Jersey. Staff reviewed the application and supplied a copy to the NJDEP for their review. We subsequently reviewed an advisory memo on the application where the Department of Environmental Protection determined that the proposed site is not a properly closed sanitary landfill as defined by the Solar Act of 2012. Based on a review of the application and recent history of the site, the DEP determined that the groundwater remedial action is not protective of human health and safety and of the environment. The DEP further advised that the proposed solar project fails to meet the definition of a properly closed sanitary landfill, since the remediation of the area proposed for the solar installation is ongoing. Based upon the review of the application and the advisory memorandum provided by the DEP, staff recommends that the board deny conditional certification of the EPP Renewable Energy Phase 4 solar project as proposed for the Pennsauken landfill, since the property does not meet the definition of a properly closed sanitary landfill consistent with the Solar Act of 2012.
Move the recommendation.
Second.
Questions, comments for Scott? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes. And item B, Scott?
Yes, sir. This item relates to a subsection T application from Active Solar Development to have its project certified as being located on a properly closed sanitary landfill and a brownfield pursuant to subsection T of the Solar Act of 2012. The applicant's 2.974 megawatt DC project is proposed to be located on a 12.69 acre property owned by I-78 Logistics Park in Phillipsburg Township in Warren County. Staff reviewed the application for administrative completeness and supplied a copy to the NJDEP for their review. The DEP reviewed the application and history of the property and supplied staff a memo on the application where they advised that the proposed site is a properly closed sanitary landfill and brownfield as defined by the Solar Act of 2012. The DEP also advised that the solar project will be installed on property that requires remediation and provided specific requirements to that end. Based upon the review of the application and the advisory memorandum provided by the DEP, staff recommends the following 3 items. The board grant conditional certification of the Phillipsburg 2 solar project as proposed for the Phillipsburg Associates 3 landfill on property defined as properly closed sanitary landfill and brownfield consistent with the Solar Act of 2012. The conditions for certification provided by the DEP be fully documented as satisfied by the applicant prior to staff's issuance of full certification, and the applicant be directed to file its TREC registration within 14 days of the date of the order.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments for Scott? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes, and I think it's time to just reiterate the fact that for subsection T applications, the board conditionally certifies or denies projects based on the results of a review process by DEP. And if they don't meet the criteria as established by DEP, it's denied. If they do, there's conditional approval or approval for the project. So our decision weighs heavily. If I'm saying something wrong, Scott, I know you'll correct me, relies heavily on the decision of DEP. Thank you, Scott.
Sir, thank you.
8C, Kelly? EVs, Kelly.
That's right, Mr. President. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Good morning, Commissioners. The matter before you pertains to advancing EV infrastructure. This program will seek to increase the number of chargers available for public use throughout the state, encourage overnight lodging establishments to install charging, and create additional corridor and community charging locations. On January 17, 2020, Governor Murphy signed into law the Eevee Act. The Eevee Act, among other things, creates an incentive program for light-duty EVs and at-home EV charging infrastructure. The Act establishes the state's goal for the use of plug-in EVs and the development of supporting EV charging infrastructure, and authorized the board to adopt policies and programs to accomplish the state's goal, which include in part at least 1,000 level 2 charging locations available for public use across the state by December 31st, 2025, at least 400 direct current fast chargers available for public use at no fewer than 200 charging locations in the state by December 31st, 2025, and at least 20% of all franchised overnight lodging establishments being equipped with EVSE for routine use by guests of the establishment by providing L2 chargers by December 31st, 2025. The FY 22 New Jersey State Budget and Appropriations Act allocated an additional $14 million to the board for the purposes of creating programs to encourage EV infrastructure and charging, and to move New Jersey closer to the goals outlined in the Eevee Act. Staff is recommending utilizing $4 million of that $14 million to create an EV tourism program. Staff proposes creating an EV tourism program to promote both EV adoption and tourism through investment in EV chargers at key New Jersey tourism areas. This initiative would seek to establish a series of EV chargers along corridor and community locations that encourage EV drivers to visit landmarks and locations considered areas of interest by the state's Division of Travel and Tourism, which highlight the best that New Jersey has to offer. Such a program would move New Jersey closer to the goals for public and overnight lodging charging locations as established by the Eevee Act, and would reduce range anxiety for residents and tourists in New Jersey. The program would be open to tourism locations in New Jersey that were interested in locating chargers at their site. By locating chargers at various tourism destinations, it would increase the visibility and availability of public charging while also reducing range anxiety. Staff recommends the board approve the program and authorize staff to develop the application and evaluation criteria and launch the program as soon as possible.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments for Kelly?
Thank you, Mr. President. Kelly, just a question came to me that when they're installing these EV chargers, they have to be energy efficient. Do they have energy store for these EV chargers?
Energy storage along with the EV
Energy
chargers?
store.
Energy Star for the chargers.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that, Commissioner, and I will check into that.
Maybe the Department of Energy should look into that, yeah. Because, you know, when you have all the TVs and all that Energy Star, why not the EV charger to be energy?
We certainly are big proponents of the Energy Star program and have won a number of awards, as you know, for all of our energy efficiency work, and I will follow up on that.
Thank you.
Commissioner?
This really warms my heart because my love for historic preservation, but it's a great symbiotic relationship and perhaps will bring new people to explore our great tourism sites, whether it's historic or ecotourism. There's so much that New Jersey has to offer, and this is a shot in the arm. I'm sure tourism is excited to be part of this as well.
Thank you, Commissioner. We did reach out and they are very excited.
Good. One of the things that's so important, I think, for the state of New Jersey, as far as the economy is concerned, everyone knows, of course, the beauty of our beaches and the 130 miles of coastline that we have here in the state of New Jersey. And there are people from other states who come and enjoy that every summer. But we also are more than just nice beaches. I mean, the state of New Jersey is the cradle of the American Revolution. There have been more American, or there were, not currently, there were more American Revolution battles in the state of New Jersey than any other region in the country. So it's a place, if you're interested in American history, and if you're interested in where democracy evolved here in the United States, you should come to New Jersey and see the historic value, whether you go to Valley Forge or Washington's headquarters or across the Delaware and whatever. It's all here in the state of New Jersey, so this only adds to it. Any other comments or questions? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
President Fiordaliso?
Yes, thank you, Kelly. Stacy Richardson, you're going to do E, I see. Look at you, how you feel? Good?
Better, thank you.
You're looking great.
Okay.
Commissioners. Hello, Commissioners.
Hi, Stacy.
As you know, the Clean Energy Act of 2018 requires each electric and natural gas public utility company in the state to reduce the use of electricity and natural gas in their service territory. Butler Electric is a municipal electric utility in Morris County that is owned and operated by the Borough of Butler and that serves residential and commercial customers in the boroughs of Butler, Bloomingdale, and Kinnelon, and that partially services the township of West Milford and the borough of Riverdale. Because Butler Electric provides service to customers beyond the municipal boundaries of the borough of Butler, Butler Electric is regulated by the BPU as an electric public utility under the Clean Energy Act. On December 16, 2020, the board approved staff recommendations that Butler Electric work collaboratively with staff, the New Jersey Division of Rate Counsel, and the investor-owned electric and gas public utilities as applicable to develop a proposal to deliver energy efficiency and peak demand reduction programs to Butler Electric customers that would be compliant with the Clean Energy Act and consistent with the requirements for utility programs as outlined in the board's June 10, 2020 order. The board further approved staff's recommendations that Butler Electric submit a proposal by October 1, 2021 that included a plan to implement programs from July 1, 2022 through June 30, 2024 to align with the current 3-year program cycle of the utility-administered EE programs. For the past several months, Butler Electric has been discussing approaches to implementing energy efficiency programs in its territory with staff, Rate Counsel, and PSE&G. At the same time, following the transition of administration of certain energy efficiency programs from New Jersey's Clean Energy Program to the utilities on July 1, 2021, the investor-owned utilities are currently discussing with staff and Rate Counsel how the investor-owned utilities will use their board-approved budgets to implement dual-fuel projects in overlapping utility territories during the current 3-year program cycle. Staff anticipates that a shared budget approach, if finalized, could enable customers served by both Butler Electric and PSE&G to participate in energy efficiency programs during the current program cycle. Staff therefore recommends that the board direct Butler Electric and staff to continue to work with Rate Counsel, PSE&G, and the other investor-owned utilities to work toward jointly developing a shared budget approach. Staff also recommends that the board grant an extension to Butler Electric to submit an energy efficiency program proposal, which shall apply to the time remaining in the current energy efficiency program cycle, and could take the form of a joint petition by Butler Electric and PSE&G. As soon as reasonably feasible, following resolution of an approach that would work for Butler Electric, should a resolution be reached, including board approval, but no later than October 1st, 2022. Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments for Stacy? Yes.
I'm glad we're making this accommodation for Butler Electric because it's one of the municipal systems and we only regulate what's sold outside its borders, which is kind of minuscule. So it's great that we were able to work out a partnership. And during my briefing, I mentioned that maybe this is something we should open some discussions with the 8 other municipal systems that are served by gas companies. Perhaps there's an opportunity to make all of the electric distribution companies energy efficient.
Any other comments or questions? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes. Thank you, Stacy. Kevin, you're up next. And as you recall, this item was an item that was in executive session and indicated at that time that action would be taken. So the floor is yours, Kevin.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, Commissioners. As discussed in executive session, this item pertains to P.L. 2021, Chapter 200, which was signed into law on August 24, 2021. This law, the School and Small Business Energy Efficiency Stimulus Program Fund, creates two programs within the board to provide grants to schools and small businesses. The two programs are the School and Small Business Ventilation and Energy Efficiency Verification and Repair, or SSB VEEVR program, and the School and Small Business Non-Compliant Plumbing Fixture and Appliance program, or the SSB and PFA program. The purpose of these programs is to provide grants to boards of education and small businesses for the installation of certain HVAC systems and energy efficient and water conserving appliances and fixtures to improve air quality and energy efficiency in school districts and small businesses, especially those that are located in underserved communities. The proposed contract modification would be limited to the administration of these specific programs, and the programs, including any administrative fees for the contract, will be paid for through federal funding made available through the American Rescue Plan Act. Staff recommends that the board approve the contract modification to authorize the administration of these two programs, and the contract modification will be contingent upon the approval by the Department of the Treasury.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments for Kevin? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes, thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Commissioner.
That brings us to miscellaneous items, and the first one is A, and Bob, you're up. Oh, no, Stacy.
Stacy's pinch hitting for me, much more effective.
All right. Is there a right-handed pitcher in or a left-handed pitcher?
Good morning, Commissioners. By order dated July 2nd, 2020, the board authorized each of the state's utilities to create a COVID-19 regulatory asset by deferring on their books and records the prudently incurred incremental costs related to COVID-19 through the later of September 30th, 2021, or 60 days after the end of the public health emergency. Additionally, the July 2020 order required that all affected utilities file a petition with the board by December 31st, 2021, or within 60 days of the close of the regulatory asset period. The public health emergency terminated on July 4th, 2021. On July 6th, several utilities filed a letter motion seeking amendment of the July 2020 order to extend the deferral period from September 30th, 2021 to the end of 2023, and to adjust the deadline for filing of petitions for recovery to a date within 60 days corresponding to the extended regulatory asset period. The motion was supported by several other utilities. In its response, Rate Counsel did not disagree that an extension may be a reasonable solution to the concerns raised by the utilities, subject to certain conditions. While Rate Counsel does not object to an extension, it expressed concern with the length of the extension. Rate Counsel further recommended that should the board grant an extension, conditions should be imposed on the extension. Taking the totality of the circumstances under consideration, staff recommends the board deny the motion requesting an extension to December 2023, and instead authorize an extension of the regulatory asset period through December 2022, and requirement to file a petition for recovery of these assets to be filed no later than 60 days following this new date. Staff further recommends the board order regulated utility companies to file a formal plan within 10 days outlining how the additional time will be used in meeting the regulatory asset period deadline. Additionally, regulated utility companies should file as part of their quarterly reports additional data spelled out in the draft board order.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments for Stacy? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes, thank you, Stacy. And miscellaneous item B. Good morning, Julie.
Good morning, good morning.
And this concerns customer bill of rights.
Correct. By order dated February 3rd,
Thank you. By order dated February 3rd, 1986, the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities established the Consumer Bill of Rights, which set forth in plain language the protections afforded to utility customers under the board's regulations. In that order, the board required all utilities under its jurisdiction to inform customers of their respective rights by distributing a copy of the Bill of Rights to their customers. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic, Governor Murphy signed a series of executive orders that temporarily established certain rights to utility customers in the state to ensure utility customers receive adequate protections due to the economic impact of COVID-19 pandemic. The Bill of Rights had not been revised since February 3rd, 1986. Since that time, there have been changes in the board's regulations along with additional customer protections mandated by Governor Murphy due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It has never been more important for utility customers to be aware of the protections granted to them through the board's regulations and the additional temporary rights put into place by Governor Murphy through December 31st, 2021. Staff is therefore proposing that the Customer Bill of Rights be revised. Staff notes that no new regulations are created nor any existing regulations changed by the establishment of the Bill of Rights. Rather, the Bill of Rights is wholly consistent with the existing board regulations. It's found in NJAC 14.3-7 et seg. The current provisions of the Customer Bill of Rights will remain in place. However, the revisions are as follows. Provision number 3 is changed to now read, you are entitled to at least one deferred payment plan within a 12-month period. The deferred payment agreement offered by the utility company must be for at least a minimum term of 12 months with no money down. Your utility company may not require a reconnection fee or deposit as a condition of continuing service, and late charges, interest, and liens for past due amounts are not permitted during the grace period. There's 4 additions. First one, number 16, after December 31st, 2021, residential gas, electric, water, and sewer utilities are permitted to inform customers that they are subject to termination of service due to non-payment unless the customer is a participant of the winter termination program. Number 17 will now read, after December 31st, 2021, residential gas, electric, water, and sewer utilities are permitted to disconnect service due to non-payment provided. However, the disconnection may occur at any time if it is to prevent a risk to public health or safety. Number 18, after December 31st, 2021, residential service may be shut off after proper notice only on Monday through Thursday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. The utility may not shut off residential service on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or a holiday, or the day before a holiday, or if a valid medical emergency exists in the household. Number 19, you have the right to notification regarding any moratorium on rate increases. Staff notes that provisions 3, 16, 17, 18, and 19 will expire December 31st, 2021. Staff recommends that the board approve the updated Customer Bill of Rights as revised so all residential utility customers may be made aware of their existing rights under the governor's executive orders and board regulations. Staff further recommends that the board order that all gas, electric, water, and telecommunications companies under its jurisdiction comply with the following. Number 1, provide all current residential customers with a copy of the Bill of Rights within 7 days from the effective date of this order. Number 2, provide all new customers with a copy of the Bill of Rights upon initiation of service. Number 3, provide all current residential customers with a copy of the Bill of Rights with their monthly bills for those utilities who follow a monthly billing cycle. All others shall provide a copy of the Bill of Rights on a monthly basis to current residential customers through an alternate means of distribution and prominently display the Bill of Rights in all of their customer service centers and on their websites.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments for Julie?
Thank you, Mr. President. Julie, how do we educate the customers that they have rights? And I mean, how do we, they don't know that they have rights, and what is the course of action they can take, and if their rights are violated, yeah. So I think either somebody, the board is going to do that, or the utilities are going to do that. When you publicize the Bill of Rights, Customer Bill of Rights, they're going to be on the every monthly bill.
Every month they'll be.
It's already crowded. The bill. I mean, people are so they don't read the whole bill, and how do we?
It won't be exactly on the bill, it will be an insert in the bill.
I know.
Like right now, on an annual basis, the utilities provide customers with the Customer Bill of Rights as an insert in their bill. Most of them do it around September, October, November. Also, as far as the customers knowing their rights, they call us. They call us and they find out their rights. A lot of it, quiet as it kept, a lot of people learn about their rights by word of mouth. Once one person found out that they have the right not to have their service discontinued from November to March, it becomes infectious. Other customers know, they call us. We get a lot of calls during the winter termination program period. Even during the year, we get calls because people are asking about their rights. And for some reason, sometimes people just start reading their bills. When you're in a position where you know your back is up against the wall, you start reading things, you start looking at things, you start researching things. So we're getting a lot of calls as far as customers knowing their rights.
Yeah, I think there are people who are going to read all those things, but most of the people I know, one more insert, they just take the bill part and throw the rest of them, recycle them, I think. So that's why I'm saying, we may need to do some kind of a drive, understanding, outreach, so that way they're able to at least know before they call you. They need to know what they're trying to do.
Well, there's going to be a utility assistance week next month, and utilities are pushing to let people know about assistance and things that are available to them.
Yes.
Yeah, even before you started speaking today, I was going to talk about your division, and I know that any time that I have ever received, an inquiry or complaint, it's really remarkable the work that your staff does, and I don't know how many people that are listening in today realize the number of calls that do come here to the Board of Public Utilities, and so I just wanted to commend your staff because they've always done a great job when we refer matters, and I know that we all get inquiries from time to time. But certainly, in addition to the agencies that are out there, we as commissioners can serve as ambassadors as we get out more often, hopefully sooner rather than later, to have those types of campaigns so that we can add to the knowledge base for the community, that they can call the board and have these matters addressed and their inquiries answered. And that's not just from customer service, frankly, it's from all the divisions where, there have been questions I find that, our directors are, very responsive when people make an inquiry, whether it be, Kelly Clean Energy or Stacy in the Energy Division, are very approachable when it comes to, having questions and inquiries made to this board. So I just want to commend you and, our other staff to being responsive to those calls.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else? It goes without saying, we have the best staff in New Jersey government, let's be honest. Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
President Fiordaliso?
Yes, I just want to reiterate some of the things that have been said as far as the Bill of Rights is concerned, as far as the Universal Service Fund and the Fresh Start Program and things of that sort. There have been changes made in the Universal Service Fund as far as, and I'm probably repeating what Maureen mentioned, but I think it's worth repeating. It includes an increase in the income threshold. And so, as an example, a family of 4 earning up to $104,000 can now qualify for assistance. These changes go into effect, as Maureen mentioned, October 1. The official moratorium on shutoffs ended July 1st. But we extended a grace period, and when we mentioned December 31st, the July 1st to December 31st is the grace period, which is giving folks an opportunity again of applying for assistance if they need it, setting up a payment plan with their utility, if that's the direction they want to go. These are awfully important things to consider if your bill is in arrearage. Arrearages are a significant amount of money here in the state of New Jersey. So it's important, if you're in that situation, seek help, set up a payment plan, whatever works for you. You're going to find that your utility is more than willing to work with you to set up this payment plan. December 31st comes very quickly, or is coming very quickly. My understanding is that Santa Claus is making the gifts, the toys now. So, December 31st is around the corner. Please, for your own peace of mind, set up that payment plan or get that assistance that you need. Julie, thank you. If there's no other items or comments from my colleagues, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. We're adjourned.